Jennifer says the Western trend in menswear has had longer legs than I expected. Yeah, earlier in the review, I was talking about Pharrell Williams and this Western aesthetic, and it seems like a lot of brands are really focusing on a Western aesthetic. I don't know why though. Of course, part of them using the Western aesthetic, which I've alluded to earlier, I'm not sure when you joined, Jennifer, is the fact that because the Prada collection was the day before Trump's inauguration, there are so many odes in this collection to American culture, whether that's the Western aesthetic, the Western boots, the Western fringes on knitwear, baseball themed accessories, basketball earrings. That's why. So that's their main reason for doing those things. But it's also, there tends to be a trend of like a lot of menswear collections these days have a lot of Western inspired garments. I don't know where that comes from. I need to look into that. Like, why is that the case? Let's see. Raby says it's because country music is booming. It has created a domino effect with Western TV shows, movies, and of course, fashion. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I'm not too tapped in with country music, so I wouldn't have noticed that country music is booming. But that's interesting. So that makes a lot of sense why a lot of brands would be focusing on the Western aesthetic. Quick hit question. Have you checked out the Martin Margiela recent auction lot? Are you talking about Kerry Taylor? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, so you are talking about Kerry Taylor. Yeah. I have seen that. It's really interesting. She's been auctioning like I'll show you guys actually, because this is interesting. So Kerry Taylor, for people that don't know, is a very important figure in fashion. Kerry Taylor is an archivist. She's also written a book on John Galliano. I have in my ebook, I wrote about this, but essentially in my ebook, I wrote that as I used it as an example of like why you can't just trust any book and you have to still do your research and compare other books. Don't just read one book and be like, I know the history now. So Kerry Taylor made a book on John Galliano because she found that a lot of books prior had misinformation about John Galliano's work. So she made a book about John Galliano in collaboration with John Galliano himself. So she's done things like that. This is the book written by Kerry Taylor. It's called Galliano's Spectacular Fashion. And basically what she does is she goes around finding all these crazy pieces and auctions them. And she has a really crazy process of finding these things. Sometimes like someone that's really into fashion might pass. And then when people inherit the clothing, they don't have any use of the clothing, so they call Kerry Taylor, or they get, Kerry Taylor gets put in contact with them. So over the years, Kerry Taylor has become like a mainstay in the kind of people that you would want to use to auction your clothing if you don't really know the value, and if you know that you have some really interesting historical pieces, or if you just want to get rid of it or whatever. So she has some of the most interesting, if not the most interesting, auctions across the whole fashion industry. And in her auctions, you will literally find some of the rarest stuff you've ever seen in your life, like old Schiaparelli pieces. Like, it's insane when you look deeply into these things. So on the 27th of January, she's actually doing an auction on Martin Margiela the early years. It was also really big on social media. I think she had like a lot of like sketches and stuff also from Martin Margiela, which is really interesting. So people, of course, have been going really crazy about all that stuff, right? And you can see even on her Instagram page, she shows like some of the pieces. It's cool. It's really, really cool. So anyway, yeah, long story short, I have seen it. It's very interesting. I'm looking forward to when the auction happens. I shall be watching very closely. Nobody dresses the runaway looks. Alessandro at Gucci was killing it, but people were buying hoodies and Ace sneakers. Yeah, facts. But yeah, that is true. Alessandro Michele. Do you know what's interesting about Alessandro Michele's Gucci though? The interesting thing to me about his Gucci, so a lot of the earlier collections especially like even the first collection, wait, let me go back, because I think his first collection was like fall winter 2015. Yeah, this was his debut collection. So the interesting thing about Alessandro Michele's Gucci, which a lot of people have said, is that even if they couldn't afford Alessandro Michele's Gucci, this sort of androgynous look, people would go to thrift stores and see and find garments that are very similar and try to find ways that they could, layer pieces in that exact way. And so a lot of people's whole personal style, I'm thinking of people off the top of my head, their whole personal style was Alessandro Michele for Gucci, but it didn't reflect in the actual Gucci pieces that people were buying. because you have the people that couldn't afford the Gucci, but they loved Alessandro Michele and just adopted that look. And then you had people that could afford it that would buy the Gucci A sneakers and the belts and the bags and the denim with the floral embroidery and stuff like that. That was an era, the Gucci Ace era, where people were wearing the floral embroidery denim. That was obviously an ode to Tom Ford. Tom Ford did a lot of that, and Alessandro Michele brought that back in a way. You can also say that Alessandro Michele learnt because he did work under Tom Ford, so he would have seen those things working in the studio anyway. So he kind of just brought it back. But yeah, that's something I find very interesting about Alessandro Michele's Gucci. Oh yes, the Gucci Flame sneakers. I forgot about those, but those are really, really nice. Those were really, really nice. I remember I actually wanted those. They were cool. Even though a lot of hypebeasts used to wear them, but I don't care. I still like them. A lot of hypebeasts used to wear them with like the Gucci tracksuit. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Like these ones, I thought they were really cool, but the way some people used to wear them, I genuinely did not want to be associated with that. Let's see, Gucci Flame sneakers with Gucci tracksuit. Try to see. Yeah, like this is what's his name again? Ari Petru. He used to call himself the UK's biggest hypebeast. The way he used to wear stuff like this. Like stuff like this is what he used to wear with the Gucci Flame sneakers. So in a way, I kind of associated Gucci Flame sneakers with people like him, but I still like the design. I would buy them now, to be fair. I think they're kind of fun. Let's see. Have you bought any Savile Row? Of course not. I can't afford Savile Row. One day, I mean, I do have a dream of going to Savile Row and having something made, but there are so many Savile Row tailors that I like. So I don't know. Like there's so many tailors I would want to get my stuff made. Like there's Huntsman. I like the Huntsman shape of things. I do think it's slightly old school, but I kind of like it. I think in terms of a modern aesthetic, I like tailors like Chittleborough and Morgan. I think their stuff is really cool. So yeah, but Savile Row tailoring is so expensive, like £12,000 for a bespoke suit. No, thank you. That is rent for a year. That is literally my rent for a whole year. There's no way that I am going to spend that kind of money, especially because I feel like the kind of people that spend money on Savile Row tailoring are the kind of people that have a need to wear that tailoring over and over again. I don't work in finance, or my life doesn't require me to wear suits all the time. So it would almost be a waste of money, because I would get more wear out of if I bought a Prada jacket for 1K and that jacket I could wear every day versus a suit, because I just don't wear suits. So where would I wear it? It would just be collecting dust in my closet, and I would have spent like 16K. The only thing I would probably spend a lot of money on would probably be a tuxedo. Like I would get a bespoke tuxedo, because I would probably get one really nicely tailored tuxedo that I wear to everything. There's always a need for a tuxedo. I'm always going to dinners and black tie events like all the time. So I have a need to wear a lot of tuxedos and like dinner shirts and stuff like that, less so than I have to wear traditional suits. But hopefully one day, that's only that a man can dream. This YouTube channel runs on your support. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You'll gain access to exclusive content that includes everything from my Patreon podcast, where I give a behind the scenes insight into the fashion industry, as well as a fashion book club where I review my favorite fashion books. You can also check out my fashion ebook, which highlights the best fashion journalists to follow, definitions of common fashion terminology, and how to determine what a good source of fashion information is. The links to everything are in the description below.